Hello folks, and welcome to another video by 1960s and 70s Chronicles of a Golden Era. In this one I'm going to ask you, what are your top 5 gigs of all time? The top 5 gigs that you attended. Now, the criteria that I'm looking for includes bands or artists who may have made it big before 1960, but you saw at a gig during the Golden Era, 1960 to 1979. And bands and artists who made it big during the Golden Era, but you saw after 1979 in a gig that turned out to be one of your top 5. That will include one of mine. So my list is this. After the first choice, the rest are in no particular order, but the first choice for me is clear. The Who at Celtic Park, 1976. It was a stadium gig, part of the Who's 1976 British Stadia Tour, which played Charlton Athletics football ground in London, Cardiff City's football ground in Cardiff, and Glasgow Celtic's football ground in Glasgow. The gig was magnificent. There were a range of support bands, but I'll talk about The Who. Wasn't a big fan of The Who when I went to see them, but The Who are just one of those bands you have got to see if you get the chance. Just about everyone I knew at the time went to that gig, including Big D, my late great old buddy and co-founder of Chronicles. You go expecting greatness. Sometimes you're disappointed. Not this time. The Who, quite simply, were the greatest live band I have ever seen. They were everything they were built up to be. And the live show with laser beams, the light show, everything was spectacular and utterly fantastic. So The Who, 1976, Celtic Park, my number 1 gig of all time. Second is the reason I'm wearing a Donovan t-shirt. It's kind of a Donovan gig, but more than that. This was a gig in which Donovan supported Yes. And it's the whole gig that counts, because it was 1977, Yes promoting the album Going for the One, which is in my top 10 albums of all time. There is a video about top 10 albums of all time. Please have a look at that as well. So you have Yes supported by Donovan promoting the magnificent Going for the One album. The whole gig was as fabulous as it sounds. Third choice, Bachman-Turner Overdrive. Notice the Scottish pronunciation. Bachman-Turner Overdrive. Supported by Thin Lizzy. This was magnificent. I wasn't a big Thin Lizzy fan at the time. Lizzy were just breaking big. Whiskey in the Jar had given them their first hit single a year or two earlier, but in Glasgow and in other cities in Britain where there's a big Scottish-Irish population, Lizzy were already big. They had a big following there. So Bachman-Turner Overdrive, who had not made an impression in Britain until the album Not Fragile, with the singles You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet and Roll On Down the Highway, were playing their first real big major tour of Britain. It was a sellout, but they were taking a big chance being supported by a band like Lizzy, who had a big following around Britain, and in Glasgow especially. They were well loved, Thin Lizzy, even at that time. Lizzy played. Lizzy were fabulous. No wonder Thin Lizzy went on to become superstars in their own right. So Bachman-Turner Overdrive had a big job in their hands to follow the Thin Lizzy support performance. There were already cries for encores from Lizzy fans. I remember it well. The house lights went down. There was darkness. BTO took the stage. The house lights came up in a blaze of glory, and the stage lights came up. BTO launched into Roll On Down the Highway, Big song, big hitter, well known, whole crowd on its feet, clapping, stomping, headbanging, and it was like that for the rest of the gig. BTO won over a very, very tricky crowd, even a crowd with a lot of Lizzie fans in it who had loved Thin Lizzy's performance. BTO took the day, as great as Thin Lizzy had been. The whole gig was fabulous. So that was number 3. Number 4 is a bit of a surprise. Hawkwind, 1975, Warrior on the Edge of Time tour. This was a tour without Hawkwind's charismatic frontman, Bob Calvert. But the light show was out of this world. The light show was presented by a famous light show crew called Liquid Lane and the Lensmen. It was mesmerizing. Sitting there, the cinema screen was down to project images of dragons, flying horses, various images going across the screen, while Hawkwind played their psychedelic kind of cosmic rock sound. And the gig was absolutely spectacular. It was mesmerizing. The music was beguiling. The performance was great. And the light show is what made it especially memorable. So that's number 4. Number 5 is a gig that it was at in very recent years, 2014. It was a gig by Yusuf Cat Stevens. Now, this was very, very special. 1979, I had the opportunity to see the then Cat Stevens at Wembley Arena, I think it was, for a UNICEF concert. Could have gone. Same night, could have gone to see Steve Hackett play the London Palladium. But I was living down in London at the time with a bunch of buddies working on the fringes of the music business. And we'd had a good week that week, had a bit of money salted away. So we could have gone to those 2 gigs, or we could have invited some people round and had a bit of a party. Yep, we did the party thing. Missed out on Steve Hackett at the Palladium, missed out on my chance to see Cat Stevens for the first time. But I thought, that's okay. I'll definitely see Cat Stevens the next time he tours. And I did. 35 years later. It was 2014. As soon as the comeback tour was announced, I was on the phone. I got a ticket for one of the gigs at the Hammersmith Odeon. I think it's the Hammersmith Victoria now, Hammersmith anyway, in London. And it was something magical. I can't explain this. You know, if you're not into this kind of way of thinking, you may not get it. But it was almost a spiritual experience. The sense of old-time 60s peace and love and tranquility and just sheer joy in that theatre from everyone was something you could photograph. It was like a tangible thing. And with the music, well, of course, it was fantastic. And I could make a separate video about any one of these gigs, but I better stop now to keep this short. But those are my 5. The Who, Celtic Park 76, Yes and Donovan, going for the One Promo Tour 77, Bachman-Turner Overdrive with Thin Lizzy, which was a tour that took place in 1975, Hawkwind, Warrior on the Edge of Time, which, if I remember rightly, was also 75, but my 5th choice, Yusuf Cat Stevens, 2014. Those are my 5. I'd love to know your 5. Please subscribe to the channel. It's going to help a lot, folks. Please share this video. That too would help. And like the video and leave comments, both on the video and on Facebook when I post it there. In the meantime, thank you very, very much for watching and listening and commenting and subscribing and linking. And take care. See you next time.